I can stand here today, as President of the United States, and say without exception or equivocation that we do not torture. And that we will vigorously protect our people while forging a strong and durable framework that allows us to fight terrorism while abiding by the rule of law. Make no mistake, if we fail to turn the page on the approach that was taken over the past several years, then I will not be able to say that as president. And if we cannot stand for our core values, then we are not keeping faith with the documents that are enshrined in this hall. The framers who drafted the Constitution could not have foreseen the challenges that have unfolded over the last 222 years. But our Constitution has endured through secession and civil rights, through World War and Cold War. Because it provides a foundation of principles that can be applied pragmatically, it provides a compass that can help us find our way. It hasn't always been easy. We are an imperfect people. Every now and then, there are those who think that America's safety and success requires us to walk away from the sacred principles enshrined in this. Building. And we hear such voices today. But over the long haul, the American people have resisted that temptation. And though we've made our share of mistakes, required some course corrections, ultimately we have held fast to the principles that have been the source of our strength and a beacon to the world. Now this generation faces a great test in the specter of terrorism. And unlike the Civil War or World War II, we can't count on a surrender ceremony to bring this journey to an end. Right now, in distant training camps and in crowded cities, there are people plotting to take American lives. That will be the case a year from now, 5 years from now. And in all probability 10 years from now. Neither I nor anyone can stand here today and say that there will not be another terrorist attack that takes American lives. But I can say with certainty that my administration, along with our extraordinary troops and the patriotic men and women who defend our national security, will do everything in our power to keep the American people safe. And I do know with certainty that we can defeat Al-Qaeda. Because the terrorists can only succeed if they swell their ranks and alienate America from our allies. And they will never be able to do that if we stay true to who we are. If we forge tough and durable approaches to fighting terrorism that are anchored in our timeless ideals. This must be our common purpose. I ran for president because I believe that we cannot solve the challenges of our time unless we solve them together. We will not be safe if we see national security as a wedge that divides America. It can and must be a cause that unites us as one people and as one nation. We've done so before in times that were more perilous than ours. We will do so once again. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless the United States of America. Barack Obama. Speech on the National Wireless Initiative. Delivered February 10, 2011, Northern Michigan University, Marquette, MI. It is wonderful to be here in the Upper Peninsula with so many Yoopers. How many of you are Green Bay fans, too? I've been seeing too many Green Bay fans lately. It is great to be here. It is great to be at Northern Michigan University. We've got some wonderful guests here that I just want to mention. First of all, somebody who is as good a public servant, not just good at what he does but good at. Heart and works tirelessly on behalf of the entire state. Your senior senator, Carl Levin, is here. Now, his partner in the Senate could not be here because she's actually leading a Democratic caucus retreat. But she's been fighting for manufacturing, for broadband, for a lot of things that we're talking about here today. So I just want to acknowledge Debbie Stabenow, who deeply cares about the work that you do up here. I want to thank the great hospitality of Mayor John Kivala, who has been showing me around town. Thank you so much, Mayor Kivala, the president of Northern Michigan University. Dr. Lei Wang is here. And all of you are here. And you guys are pretty special. Absolutely. Before I begin, I just want to say that we are following today's events in Egypt very closely. And we'll have more to say as this plays out. But what is absolutely clear is that we are witnessing history unfold. It's a moment of transformation that's taking place because the people of Egypt are calling for change. And they've turned out in extraordinary numbers representing all ages and all walks of life. but it's young people who've been at the forefront, a new generation, your generation, who want their voices to be heard. And so going forward, we want those young people, and we want all Egyptians to know America will. Continue to do everything that we can to support an orderly and genuine transition to democracy in Egypt. Now, as we watch what's taking place, we're also reminded that we live in an interconnected world. What happens across the globe has an impact on each and every one of us. And that's why I've come to Marquette today, not only because it's beautiful, and the people are really nice, which is true. But I've come here because in the 21st century, it's not just the big cities where change is happening. It's also in towns like this where the jobs and businesses of tomorrow will take root. And where young and talented Americans can lead. It's towns like this where our economic future will be won. Now, in the short term, the best thing we can do to speed up economic growth is to make sure families and businesses have more money to spend, and that's exactly what got a little applause there. That's exactly why we passed those tax cuts in December. That's what it's doing. Because Democrats and Republicans came together. Americans' paychecks will be a little bigger this year, and businesses will be able to write off their investments, and companies will grow and they'll add workers. But we've got more to do. Our measure of success has to be whether every American who wants a job can find a job. Whether this country is still the place where you can make it if you try. In a world that's more connected and more competitive, Other nations look at this moment as their moment. Their turn to win the jobs and industries of our time. I see things differently. I see this as America's moment to win the future. So that the 21st century is the American century just like the 20th century was. Yes, we can. But to do this, we're going to have to up our game, Marquette. We got to up our game. To attract the best jobs, the newest industries. We're going to have to out-innovate, out-educate, out-build. We're going to have to out-hustle the rest of the world. That means investing in cutting-edge research and technology. Like the new advanced battery manufacturing industry that's taking root right here in the state of Michigan. It means investing in the skills and training of our people, just like it's taking place at this university. It means investing in transportation and communications. Networks that move goods and information as fast as possible. And to make room for these investments, we're going to have to cut whatever spending we can do without. We've got a real issue with debts and deficit, and so we've got to live within our means. And that means that we've got to cut out things that aren't adding. To growth and opportunity in order to invest in those things that are. And that's why I proposed that we freeze annual domestic spending for the next 5 years. That will reduce the deficit by more than $400 billion over the next decade. It will bring spending to the lowest share of our economy since Eisenhower was president. That's a long time ago. Even I wasn't born then. So government has to do what American families do every day, live within our means. But even as we do so, we can't sacrifice our future. I'll just give you guys an analogy. If you're trying to cut back in your family, you might decide, we're not going to go out to dinner so often. Maybe we'll skip the vacation, we're not going to remodel the kitchen. But you wouldn't stop saving for your child's college education. You wouldn't stop saving for your own retirement. If your boiler was broken or your roof had a leak, you'd still go ahead and make those investments. Well, the same is true with our country. We've got to cut out the equivalence of eating out and vacations. I know there may be some restaurant owners here go eat. At their restaurants, but I'm just making a general point. Even as we cut out the things we can afford to do without, we got a responsibility to invest in those areas. That will have the biggest impact on our future, and those things are innovation, education, and infrastructure. And that last area, infrastructure, is why I've come here today. Connecting a country of our size has never been easy. Just imagine what Americans experienced when they fanned out from 13 colonies to settle a continent. If you wanted to get from one coast to the other, it would take you months, it would cost you a small fortune. If you settled in the heartland, you were an island. With no real market to sell your goods or buy what you needed. You might have to wait until the traders came by before you stocked up.